Hey, Greg. You're the first human.
We're outnumbered.
Folks are coming. Hey, guys. Everyone, just as usual, waiting a minute or two before all assemble here. Just another 30 seconds. All right, I think we can get started. Pete?
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks everyone for joining. Just as a reminder, we do have a code of conduct for this community, so you can find links for that on the community notes, which are also pasted in the chat on the Google Meet. Join us in Slack if you're not there yet. You can join us there for all the conversation in the different channels and SIG groups that are happening. And if you do need any help, just at the community team, that's a Slack group that should ping us if you do need any help for anything. Just want to let everyone know, we do have the registration page open for the March 11th llm-d meetup happening in New York City. If you're going to be in the area or interested in traveling, feel free to register on that link in the community notes. And please share with your networks too. And on that point as well, we do post updates like this out to the social sites, Twitter/X, LinkedIn, and then we also have Blue Sky. So just continuing to expand out the footprint, being able to get all of these great updates out to the community. And so if you're on any of these, all of these, and you see, obviously follow, but also if you see us posting there, feel free to give those a share as well. So that's all I got. I'll hand it back over to you, Carlos.
Great. Thanks, Pete. Yeah, we're all looking forward to these events. This will be first in a series, so this is exciting to see community get engaged. Very good. So welcome everyone, especially new people. We start with open forum, so feel free to chime in now. Any questions, complaints, suggestions? There is one thing that I wanted to highlight, and then we'll talk more about when you go to the SIGs. There is a big push in the project right now just to kind of streamline, revamp CI/CD, testing, nightlies, and all of that. Again, this is just a consequence of the project growing, of course, getting more mature. So we're spending a lot of time here. You hear a bit more from some of the SIG leads on this one. I'm bringing this to open forum because this might touch, actually is touching a lot of the repos, might cause some disruption. So if there is anything that folks are seeing community-wise, SIG leads, feel free to chime in. Again, we think this will benefit a lot of, will benefit greatly the project and all the sub-repos as well. So just more like a heads up, so everyone in the community knows that, again, we're going through this, and you hear more details in a little bit. Anything else for open forum? Okay, so let's dive into SIG updates, and then if there's anything that come up, feel free to chime in. Heading over to you, Marsh, I think, first, and then Greg. You're mute, Marcio.
So we started this concerted effort to have all the guides run through CI/CD. We are making a lot of progress there, and the Anderson particular is contributing a lot to make sure that everything will be there. We plan to have at least nightly tests for Kubernetes, pure Kubernetes and OpenShift, a Kubernetes cluster and a OpenShift cluster. This first wave of testing is going to be purely functional. The stack is stood up and answered one request, and they're going to progressively improve it by having simple benchmark tests, and then going back to the SIGs, asking for which representative models are large, small, medium size, and then having representative workloads, and having something like, in addition to the nightly tests, having something like, let's say, weekly long-running benchmark tests tracking benchmark regression. So there's a whole plan there. It will take, I believe, a few more weeks, but we will get there soon enough.
Okay, Greg, anything from your side?
Yeah, it's some build stuff updates, I guess. So the EFA work merged. We're rebasing MV Shrem and Nixel bumps on top of that, which is another core change that we're hoping to see. As well as there's still a few pieces of outstanding work, but I think overall we're pretty close to getting an RC out to the different teams. We also identified the actual build caching issue, which created the need to disable all of the layer caching that we did at the GHA level. So we might be able to bring that back with strictness. We just have to watch it to make sure we're not getting stuff sneaked through again. But we're making progress on that front. So those are the two big updates.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Marcio and Greg. Any questions, comments? All right, let's go to PD disaggregation. I don't know if Tali is here already. He said he'd be late. Yeah, Tali, you're here, right? So
I am here. Yeah. Okay. So one, I just linked the running doc for the PD disaggregation SIG. Then I've got a call out on VLM 0.16.0. We are running into CUDA issues. So just as an FYI, we are considering dropping to CUDA 12.8 in that image, but then still building the binaries with 12.9, if that works. But yeah, we're running into incompatibilities upstream due to the fact that we need to be on 12.9 for Flash MLA, and then that's running into incompatibilities with PyTorch being on 12.8. And then we are considering, we're talking about moving both of these up to 13.0 for the next versions. So may affect llm-d images. So as an FYI. Two, working on GB200 YDP, scaling it up more. So there's several PRs in progress that we need to get landed, including offloading the weights for prefill, so we can go down to 2 GPUs for the prefill and really push the differentiation and how we parallelize those two. So some of those are from Meta, and then some of them are from Red Hat. Are EPLB is broken for NVFP4, so we have a fix for that hasn't landed yet. And then we're still running into hangs with async EPLB. Remember, this is try to drive the cost of EPLB down to 0. So we do have a minimal repro of that as well. So trying to get that sorted out as well. I've linked a proposal for fault-tolerant elastic EP in upstream VLLM. So some folks from Huawei are pushing on that. I wanted to call out one thing we discussed in the PD disag SIG yesterday, which is, we need better utilities around configuring prefill and decode instances. So one of the things we should talk and think about is if we want to embrace Dynamo's AI configurator. That could be interesting for sizing, how big the prefills are, how many prefills we have, and how big the decodes are. And yeah, Marcio, I see your hand up, and we do need to talk about this. So one of the things I've been doing over the past week or so is I've put together some tooling for benchmarking prefills, benchmarking decodes. This is like a semi-automatic process, creates a Google sheet that we can look at. I have some Pareto curves, and like we need to get this into SIG benchmarking. So yeah, Marcia, we do need to talk about that. You want to go ahead?
Sure. I mean, I think the three things, right? One is we faced the same problems, especially with PD disaggregation to YDP, right? They're really, really temperamental beasts to configure. So one thing I wanted to discuss is our capacity planner that we have on the benchmark, right? The configuration explorer, of course. But in addition to that, we have some specific clusters, for instance, with ROC ADDR, where configuring the environment variables for YDP and PD disaggregation is really complex. You have to boot and see the dynamic interface and which interface needs to be used. So I wrote some automation on llm-d benchmark to be able to set up automatically, right, when the pod start PD and YDP. And I mean, of course, the code is nowhere near where it should be, but I think we should leverage that more. That has been a challenge for us in benchmarking to get this going correctly.
Yeah, we should let's like sync up on all of this in the near term.
Mhm.
So I have something to show off, but it's not something that's like upstreamable, but it's something useful and like in the direction that I think we want to go in. And then so I also have some Pareto sweeps where we have speed up using PD up, I'm seeing up to like 30-40% on a GPT-OSS, trying to push that up further. And then Vincent Cave from AMD has a PR up for the ROC-M well-lit path there.
Okay, very good. Abdullah?
Do we plan to align or compare with AI configurator from Dynamo? I thought that component is static, like it's not like, does it quite integrate with anything? It's just like a recommender of configurations?
A recommender. They have, so I've been using it over the past week or so. I quite like it. I think it's really nice. They have, limited model selection is like one of my criticisms of it. But it's good. So there's like an empirical mode where they're like measuring individual kernels, and then they have like analytical models as well. But they're not actually like benchmarking. This is actually the nice thing about it. It's very fast. The other part of it is it will give you the YAMLs for deploying with those configs. But then what I think we should do is something similar, but more like end-to-end, like performance benchmarking, so we can, separately benchmark different configs of like different TP, DP, EP sizes for prefills, decodes using like a fake KV connector to fill the KV cache, and then separately aggregated deployments. And then from there, we can figure out, what's the right configuration and then benchmark that. So that's what I think we should do as end-to-end. And then we could maybe additionally add AI configurator. Because like, I don't know if we could like replicate or embrace, right? But it's kind of a lot of work, and they kind of did a good job. So.
Yeah, let me chime in. Yeah, so I think this is a definite example where, if there is something that brings value, and we can, in fact, we're doing a lot of things with the NVIDIA and Dynamo folks, right? So this can definitely be something that we should look and integrate. And yeah, absolutely, I think llm-d project's open, and we'll explore that for sure. And I know that David's here, so maybe David, you can even double down on this message. Go ahead, David.
Exactly as you were saying, Carlos, and the opportunity to build upon that. If Tyler pointed out some really great additional features, and the Dynamo team would be very welcome to be able to collaborate and expand on it.
Yeah, very good. Thanks, David. So this is definitely a follow-up item. So let's do this in the 6, and Tyler, if you need help from us, just let us know. Very good. I think you finished, right? Yeah, good. Let's do a scheduler with Neely.
Yeah, hey. Okay, so the Python dependencies removal, the tokenization cycle, the implementation is complete and tested. The final stages of integration that's work with Maroon and Sagi are doing should be done today, tomorrow. And then the build should be much faster and smaller. So hoping this will end by the end of this week. Our focus is workload-aware scheduling. So for multimodal, we have a proposal which is written but on being reviewed internally, will be published in days with a proof of concept that shows currently EPE/PD mode disaggregation and possibly even EPD. So this is something that we will show in the next community call. Agentic workloads, also another thread that we're working on. There is a design Provenient team are working on. They have an RFC in IGW, and this is also a work in progress. Also working on agentic workloads on traces and being able to simulate that. And this is something that will also be in interaction with the benchmarking team, but of course we need some way to have these workloads, be able to run them and test performance. The offline batch, the implementation is in progress, and the work is progressing. And reinforcement learning, this is the area that we are still understanding and setting up an environment. And once we'll extract the requirements, we will share a design document. Should happen in the coming weeks. That's it on our end.
Okay. Thanks, Neely. Anything else? Questions, comments? Okay. Maroon, KV segregation.
Yes, so a few updates. So HMA support in KV offloading is progressing in VLM or has published first testing results in the VLM Slack on accuracy and things working. Follow-ups will be on performance evaluation and improvements. So this is targeted for 06. There is one gap he outlined in prefix cache aware scheduling, or for that affects preciseness. We opened an issue to track it. The details are there. I think we don't have time to get into them. So that's an open item. If someone wants to pick it up, it's well defined and it's relatively simple, but it's an effort in both VLM and the KV cache libraries. On tokenization, so like Neely said, Sagi has been putting a lot of significant work into removing all the Python dependencies. So there has been significant improvements to the build on both the KV cache and the inference scheduling repos, with Wenzu's help from Red Hat, a new contributor, and the overall switch and moving to the UDS tokenization service, which is also in progress to reuse the VLM wrapper we had for 05. And that's on tokenization. One more on VLM. There's a front that Young-Hyun from Mori.io, again, another significant contributor, is pushing in VLM on the disaggregated front end, which once lands, we'll be able to reuse a lightweight VLM deployment that is dedicated to pre-processing or to turning any user input into tokens, which goes along with an item that I didn't include here, but I'll add in a bit, that Antonio is pushing on adding tokenization to the inference scheduler directly and not being contained with the precise prefix cache score. That's on tokenization and pre-processing. Two more updates. So I published a proposal yesterday on adding a router tier for the precise prefix cache scheduling as a first step towards a meaningful unification of prefix cache scheduling in llm-d. Follow-ups on that will be with Song, but this work focuses on just adding this router tier to get some wins and lay out the foundation for that unification. And one more, a KV events abstraction proposal that is very straightforward and will be kicked off for execution in the coming 2 weeks. It would decouple KV events digestion from VLM and enable supporting SGLang and others. Abdullah?
So yeah, one interesting thing you mentioned about moving the tokenization outside the KV, the precise plugin. Yeah, plus 100 to that. But I feel that we can do that right now. Like, why is it tightly coupled? Like, we have extension points that we could probably use to do this, basically invoke it from there. Or is that what you're saying? Like, we're just going to move it to be executed from another extension point that is like, more agnostic, that's not the actual score that will be using it.
Yeah, so it will be reusing one of the extension points. There is one minor, so there is a change that needs to happen in the inference gateway. We discuss this. We can discuss this in the next meeting as well. But we'll be adding tokens into the LM request and use an extension point to ensure tokenization.
Yeah. No, I agree. And this is part of what Bob is doing as well with the extension point for parsing. Like, you can add your own parser, and which means we need to also add more stuff to the LLM request. And I'm thinking we also could add like even a raw field where you can inject anything you want there in case you want to implement your own custom plugin downstream that you want to plumb data into it. Cool. Okay.
I think we should be seeing PRs very soon. Antonio updated that is progressing on the implementation.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Yeah, thanks, Mark, for reporting back. Okay, anything else, Maroon? I think you finished, right?
Yeah, all done.
Okay, any other question, comments? All right, benchmarking, Marcio?
Hello, it's me again. So, YDP AWS support via the llm-d benchmark deployer, because we have to have our deployer to do our parameter space exploration. So that's why we have that. We deploy that in a way different from what we do in the guides. I can talk a little bit more about that. We have some automation coming to be able to do this translation seamlessly without any manual intervention. But right now we are trying to validate on a different cluster, YDP AWS. Second thing is there has been a request for the run only, the self-contained scripts that you use on the benchmark guides to be able to push data to object storage is implemented. And the release V05, or release V05, we're going to tag llm-d CUDA V051. And right now we have V051 RC2, so we have V051. We're going to tag that to have a release. That's basically short and sweet.
Okay, great. Then last one, Autoscaler. Abhishek?
Sorry, I was talking on mute. I hope you can hear me. Yeah, so a couple of updates. So we're preparing for the dot release 0.5.1, and one task that was prioritized was to easily perform easy configuration management inside WVA. So WVA has 2 or 3 config maps that help in optimizing the multiple variants for the models that you have deployed. So the precedents and the exact overrides via flag is now supported by Viper. So that PR has been merged, and it's all ready to be pulled in v0.5.1. Then we are also working on speeding up our E2E test. Currently, our E2E test take around 40 odd minutes to complete, which run the entire llm-d stack with WVA and with HPA. So we are trying to see how we can speed up and bring down the world clock time so that developer productivity is improved. And now that we have nightlies in place, how can we make the most use of the nightlies and offload heavy E2Es on the nightly side. Then we are working on also easy install and updates to the current WVA deployment. So one of the requirement there was once I have WVA installed, I need to change specific WVA parameters without changing the whole Helm environment in itself. So how can we align first of all the parameters, and then how can we selectively update some of the parameters based upon the deployment environment? And the second requirement there is users need to additively add VAs and models after the WVA has been installed. So like this work is chopped down into 3 pieces, and it's been done by a new contributor, Sum from Red Hat. So he's helping to make the install updates and additive deployments of VA easier. That's it.
Okay. Right. Tons of updates as usual. Thank you all. Any other question, comments? We don't have observability SIG today. Sally is off. Actually, a few people off this week, so a little bit shorter today. So if there's any question or comments, we can discuss it now with this 5 minutes, or we just finish a bit earlier today. Okay. All right. So as usual, use Slack for anything that we haven't discussed, and see you guys next week. Thanks a lot. Bye. Bye all.
Bye.